So let's go ahead and review, right? So right now, we have a situation where one of our teammates is gone. He's thirsted. Bye-bye. The enemy squads are over here, fighting like in this like corner over here, like on that building complex. And so we're in a really great position, super strong, like end game position, like with amazing cover, right? Like have this like nice like half cover in front of us, with a like great view on the fact that these two enemy squads are gonna have to fight on their way in, right? And so like, you know, we like cards are all in our favor, right? And so that's sort of the context we're looking at here. So the first error here, as soon as I like move to give myself a clear view of it, right here, I think actually it's not positioning aggressively enough, right? I think this piece of cover here, this little rock, is definitely like the play. The reason why is because that rock is going to be further forward, like, you know, somewhere like out in like this part of the ring, right? And it's going to plant me basically directly between those squads that are trying to approach and the rest of the circle, right? I think it's like up to me as the Wraith, so that like if the enemies like start to like flank around like on this side here, then I just void walk back into this piece of cover. And like just crouch, you can crouch through these windows here, crouch through the window and, you know, be back in safety. And so do that as the Wraith. But like, you know, by positioning here and like you can probably stand on the back of this, crouch and like have like a nice little head glitch on the rest of the things, rest of happenings. By positioning here, you know, it just make it like more like provide like a stronger defense, I guess, against the enemies approaching and entering this circle. This winds up making a difference here in a second because they're actually going to fight like literally like right in front of this doorway here. Taking more shots is always nice. That one's dead. That could have been really bad for me and gotten Krabered. The next error that I'm going to make here is going to be actually doing a cell, right? And so this cell, you know, for 25 HP, I think is not worth it. It cost me 3 seconds, right? And I actually still think I should be positioning and playing forward more aggressively because those two enemy squads are like definitely, because they're like all standing right here now, like, you know, because you could see that, like they are definitely going to fight. And so it is like no longer like a probability, right? It is an eventuality. It is an actuality. So it's like, it's definitely going to happen. And so this cell here is not worth it. Like it's like wasted time. And so like, you know, you want to be having your shots like on the two other enemy squads as they're shooting each other. You want to be shooting like the other squads in the back. You don't want to be arriving just after they've killed. Like it's, I mean, like it's better than not. Like it's better than like, you know, arriving even later, I suppose. But it's like, you know, your ideal third party like looks like you're like arriving just as like the squads like are very like finishing up like their last like enemy or something like that.
Right.
So this circle, this cell winds up costing me, right? Like they're like
go for it.
Right here. You know, I could like imagine like I could have been there, you know, 30 seconds sooner. Then step back.
Grenade?
Right here. Yeah, so Holland says it verbally, but he's right. Like grenades right now are the play, right? There's probably a teammate that's knocked back here. Regardless, there's not a whole lot of cover, right? And so grenade spamming them immediately like should have been like the play. I've got 4 throwables right now, but I was like saving them, I guess, like to sort of assess the situation more. But I think he's right. Like throwing the grenades here like is the play, and so it would have been easier to see that had I been here like, you know, 3 seconds sooner, right? But regardless, you know, throwing grenades here like immediately I think is the thing to do. They're all bunched up like this, and so it's like really punishing and isolating for them in order to do that, or by doing that. The grenades here like aren't wasted because they basically like shut down the option of the enemy squad like playing forward through the dome, so they can't take a lot of risks here. This teammate here, I like sort of like stepped through the frames a little earlier in this analysis, and I saw like that basically there's like a frame like from the frame where they like leave my field of view to like where they re-enter my field of view approaching this dome, like it was like non-reactable to be able to like pull up and support them. I really don't think pushing the dome in this situation is a good idea. The reason why is because the enemy has complete control of this cover and a perfect vision of all of us as we approach the dome, right? And you know, on the flip side, like we have like basically no cover, and like fairly equivalent like amount of vision. So like even like the dome itself could be like a bait, right? They might even go for the res, like, even if there's like only one or even two of them here, you know, it could be bait just to force us to push, and then they'll try and like catch one of us, you know, like same as like when you like run around a corner around like on an enemy that's weakened and they mastiff you in the face. It's like basically the same idea. So I really don't think playing into the bait here is worth it. They're like, you know, once the dome expires, they're still like, in the same bad position they were in, with the circle, you know, going to be closing with very limited cover. So I don't think there's a reason to push the dome here, unless like, you know, like we're full strength with all three of us firing on all cylinders. So it would have to be something that we plan together. So
hell fucking no.
Our last and final error here is actually right here. I have a Prowler with the Digi Threat, and so I think actually I should have played more to the left here in order to take advantage of the fact that like the Horizon did create some visual cover for me, and so I would be able to use the Digi Threat to like get some easier shots on them relative like to like their shots on me, right? So it's very unlikely that they also have a Digi Threat, and so I think that was like the fourth error that we make. What happens from here on out, right, I think are largely like very specific execution things, and there's not a whole lot you can do beyond like just practice. I'll still point them out as we go. So right here, like definitely would be better to hit more shots. A little hard to see the red on orange, so there's that. I try to slide underneath these railings, but forget that, you know, this is an important piece of that knowledge, but you can't slide under these things, right? They're like basically like solid barriers but they provide no cover. And so this leaves me basically with no cover relative to the Gibraltar with a gun shield. I shouldn't have been fighting this. I shouldn't have been trying to like challenge this angle here. I immediately void walk away, and I barely step into the ring as I come out of the void walk, which kills me. And this was still probably a winnable game. Like I would have just, you know, closed this door, healed, and then held the half cover, or pushed depending on like sort of like what it looked like, and I'm pretty sure I would have won. So yeah, so this like, you know, this part here like is like a very small execution thing, but there are a lot of like sort of like decision making things like up front before, you know, just in the few seconds before that I could have prevented this situation from ever occurring, right? So that's like why like I'm like not a huge proponent of like saying things are unlucky. It's like there are situations that occur ahead of time, right, that you can use to like sort of mitigate things like this happening. So that pretty much wraps up the analysis for now. I'm going to switch